Hi everyone, it's Niamh here and welcome to my art journaling channel. Today we're going to be playing with some mark making and using some altered images to create something crazy in my art book. So this is my portrait booklet that I am using and doing a lot of my artwork in. I have already painted the background with the blue paint. It did have a gold underneath it, which I didn't really like, so I decided to go back in with some blue paint, and I'm just sort of rubbing off the excess so to get these sort of bubbly effects. I didn't really know what I was doing at this stage. I'd come to the fact that I'd done the background. I didn't really like the background, and then I just gave up on the background, knowing that I would come back to it at some stage. And that's quite often what I do in my artwork. I get frustrated too. I get distracted. I make mistakes. And quite often when I make mistakes, I just go on to another area of my journal and then come back to it at the end. I'm one of those people that I just have to keep working at it until it's right, though. I don't give up on it. Even if I just repaint over it and keep going, I will do something to it. But on this page, I had the image I could play around with while I was in the back of my head. It's just ticking over, what are you going to do in the background? You don't like the background, what are you going to do in the background? So this is how my brain works occasionally. So as I'm going in, using really bright colors on his body, I put down the base colors first. Then I'm going to go in with a black pen just to add in some detail. So I find this really, really handy because I know that green, for example, where it's a bit pasty, is not the final coat that's going to be on that. So I don't have to panic too much about what it's looking like currently. I did decide I was going to keep the chair in. Not sure I was happy with that decision in the end, but you know, why not keep going? He's obviously got one of those leaning chairs they had in not Superman, Star Wars for C-3PO, if you've ever read that. He couldn't sit down, so they had to give him a leaning chair. One of the things about these pictures is it's great and you can extend all the images, but it means you have to extend everything, which sometimes means the reality of the situation gets lost a little. So once I've finished sort of fiddling around with that a bit, then I decided, how am I going to colour in the background? So I decided I would go for some dots. Dots and stripes are my go-to when it comes to things like this. If you have your own patterns, obviously use those. The other thing is that I don't tend to do too often, because again, I have to find the right one. It makes me think too much, is I will grab out a you can grab out a stencil and stencil through it, but whatever works for you. You can see I'm really struggling finding a white pen that's working. I'd just been on a holiday and I'd taken my pens and obviously hadn't put them back where I expected them to be, and it just wasn't working for me. So again, funnily enough, I didn't continue with the dots and the white pen. I changed my mind and did something else on the next bit. Well, some of my ideas seem well intentioned. Quite often it's my ADHD brain going, oh, that's not working, let's try something else. Oh, that's not working, let's try something else. Yeah, so that's how I get so many different crazy patterns in my artwork. So once I've gone through the blue, I'm then going back in and sharpening up some of those lines again. So always a good idea just to make sure that your line work, you just go back over and check it at the end just to make sure it's the way that you want it to be. I'm just adding a little bit of white highlight to each of those lines, again to help them pop out a bit from the background. Once I finish with that, then I'm thinking, where to next? You can see I've got this face on this side. I decided I really didn't like his face. So I had this image that I had from a collage class that I taught. and print it out. I actually really liked how that ended up on the page and how it took up most of the page, because I think that was my big beef with the background, was there was a lot of background and this picture wasn't necessarily my favorite picture. So how was I going to balance it up? Just by putting that big collaged head on it kind of took away that indecision from me, because that's most of the background gone. I don't need to worry about it anymore. Because it is an image I printed out on my computer, the colors are a little bit muted, so I'm just going in with some paint pens over the top and just smudging them out a little bit to help them blend into the background, and just putting a little bit more brightness back into the image. It's one thing I really like doing with my collage images, no matter what they are, whether they're a fully printed image or not, just adding that extra little bit of color. Now I can go back onto the background, and because I had all those lovely golden dots, which now look a little bit more like they make sense, I decided that I would go in and add some extra sort of sprinkles over the background as well. So I've got in with some neon yellow and then some pink dots, and you'll notice I've put some of those pink dots up and through her hair as well. So that helps to blend the images together a little bit. If I try and just stop it in one point, that makes it very arbitrary. Whereas if you actually sort of spread it through, that helps blend it together. Then I've just used a really thick white Posca pen and sort of used it as a stamp to get the sort of square image from it. Finally, I'm going in and adding some extra details, really big long eyelashes, darkening up her eyeliner a little bit, making her pupils really stand out, giving a little bit of darkness to her lips as well. Again, just trying to bring that image to life a little bit. I was tossing up whether I wanted to put a quote on this or not, if I was going to write on it, and I just found this one. I think it's a paper rose piece that came, I've had it for ages in my stash. I don't know when I bought it, but they've got some really lovely quotes. So I thought I'd just tear that out and stick that on instead as a bit of a badge. So here is a close-up of the finished piece. Didn't start off perfect. I quite like where it ended up. Still wish I'd probably just left it without putting that white pen on it. I quite like that sprinkle of the pink in the background. It kind of gives me sort of photographic effects in the background. But it is what it is. So just keep working, I suppose, is my advice. It'll always turn out okay in the end. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, bye for now.